Hi all, welcome back to the final whistle for the match preview then. Leicester take on Preston on Good Friday. Who will be the better of the Good Friday? I know Leicester ain't got the bloody greatest of records when it comes to Good Friday, but anyway, Preston at home. Is it the time that Leicester come back from the international break, squeaky clean, and can actually put this bloody poor run of form behind us, Dan, and pick up some points against Preston? Dan, how are we?
Yeah, not too bad. Not too bad. Glad this poxy international break is over and we're back to proper football again.
Yeah, I'm club over country, me, to be honest. Do you know what, Dan? People look at the international break and they say when you're on a poor run of form, you sort of can't wait for the international break to come. But then you sort of, when the days are going by and you think, oh, God's sake, even though my team's shit, you kind of want club football to come back because you want international football.
Well, it's not just that; it's just the fact that England are so boring at the minute. That's the problem I have. Mm-hmm. Normally, I wouldn't be this way, but because I still love watching it, or used to love watching England play. But just lately, it's just so diluted now. It's just, it does your head in. Don't get me wrong. I'm there for the tournaments and all the rest of it. But the friendlies and the qualifying, just is like, what's the point, But you have to do it, I suppose. And as you say, it does give us a break. But again, as you say, if you are in a bad run of form, I wouldn't consider us to be in an awful run of form. And like I say, especially after getting the draw against Watford in the last game, it would have been nice just to have been carrying on and hopefully then have sort of progressed the results further forward. I say hopefully, you know what we're like at the minute. So, yeah.
My good mate, Charlie. Shout out to the channel, pal. Let everybody know what you do regarding Preston North End.
Just a bit of video, that's about it. Nothing special. Just watch my club up and down the country. Try and get abroad to watch different teams if I can. Because if you've seen the second half of our season, you've seen how it's gone. It's not been great.
Well, welcome to Leicester City's season as a whole, rather than a half a season, Charlie, obviously you've done a bit of non-league, haven't you? During the international break?
I went to Corinthian Casuals versus Fleet Town.
Yeah.
That was a proper mooch. Like I tell you, proper all the way up to Euston. From Euston over to Fleet, that was a good hour and 40 minutes. Then to the grounds, half an hour walk. And we actually nearly missed out. We had to be back at Euston to get on the train for 8:31. We got back in Euston at 8:15 and just about got on the train. But it was a good day out. If different grounds tick off, I won't go Fleet again. Not great, to be honest.
Well, I ended up watching the local Anstey Nomads in the international break, and obviously coached by David Nugent. Dan, Comrade Logan's there as well. Hello, Abil. How are we?
Well,
Is he still player manager, or is he just managing now?
Nugent?
Yeah.
Player manager, but he don't really play a lot now. I was speaking to him about Leicester after the game, and I said, do you fancy signing a contract up until like the end of the season? And I said, we could do with an actual striker up front who knows where the goal is. So that's Leicester City's to get me the contract. I'll come back. And he said, I might be a bit more older now, but he said, I still know where the goal is. And he obviously smiles about it, he laughs about it and that, but a lot's changed, hasn't it, Charlie, for obviously Leicester in what, 5 years. It's obviously we've won the FA Cup in that time, but to be where we are now as a club, I think we've done the full circle. Sort of, when we obviously got took over in 2010 by the ownership, and we were in the Championship then, bottom half of the table, and then we're now done the full circle again, but we're more in the relegation zone type of club now this season. So it's quite mad how things have gone in 16 years in Leicester. We've had the massive highs, and then obviously we've had the big decline, which is the last 5 years. So it's quite something, Dan.
Absolutely, yeah. Like saying, as you're saying about with the full circle, it was pretty much where the King Power Enterprise picked us up anyway, and it could be where we end when, depending on what side of the fence you're sitting on at the minute, where it ends for top as well. So, yeah.
Charlie, Preston North End, Mr. Heckingbottom, did very well at the start. I had a very good first half of the season. But then, again, Preston, as they usually do, they seem to have one good half of a season. Then second half, they go completely missing and completely fall off out of nowhere. So I think that's how you'd really sum up Preston the last few seasons, wouldn't you, to be fair? You do well in the first half. If maybe a little playoff push here, why not? And then you look at how you performed in the second half of the season. I think it was more of the same last season, wasn't it? But obviously, he was in the relegation last season. So what's your sort of thoughts this season of how things have gone under Heckingbottom?
Ever since we've got back into the Championship, it's been the same year on year. And I understand the fans' frustrations because it's pretty much the same thing. And obviously, we're having a bit of a thing with our ownership at the minute, saying they're not really putting the money in, they're just doing enough. They're not really putting the extra bit in. Like, everyone's seen our pitch, how it looks the last few weeks. Everyone's been taking a piss out of our pitch. And it's just the simple things like looking after the stadium and stuff like that, which people are getting annoyed at. And our ownership are just not doing it, unfortunately. But with how we played, I spoke to you start of the season, Jack, when I was about when you come to our place, how energised the team was, how athletic the team was, how well we played. We played through the middle, played it out wide, looked like wanting to score every single time. And after January, I think we got rid of 5 or 6 players, and we only brought, 2 or 3 players in on pretty much deadline day. We brought a lad in called Lukovic from Strasbourg. He's played 30 minutes. We're paying him 10 grand a week, which is a lot of money for us, and we've not seen him since. So you're thinking, again, ownership. We're not saying we want to spend a lot of money. We want to spend the money proper. We brought a striker in there, and he's not playing. We've let Will Keane go to Reading, and I think he scored about 7 goals already for him.
It's quite something, isn't it, Dan, when you talk about strikers scoring goals, but ours can't hit a bloody barn door. They've scored 8 between them this season in the Championship.
That's it. They can score for their international country, so that's always the disappointing thing. But because Rizdal's still your manager, chairman, isn't he?
Yeah. I don't mind him personally myself, but I think it is time for him to go. He's a dinosaur in a modern world, isn't he? Let's be honest. He's been there for a bit, and he's not evolving anymore.
No, and I suppose is that the issue with, as you're saying, with the situation about reinvestment into the side and stuff like that, after getting burnt at Leeds and sending them into the spin that he did with them to go, well, I don't want to take risks anymore with a club like Preston.
I think the Leeds situation a bit different for him because he was the actual chairman, weren't he? At us, he's the chairman's advisor. So he basically is the chairman in sense, but he's not. So he's not the one with the money. It's the head of his family. But he's telling them what to spend it on, essentially. So it is kind of a bit down to him. And he keeps going out these quotes saying if you get 1 out of 3 right, you're lucky, you know what I mean? It's like 1 out of 3.
Yeah.
So I don't think we get that over the last 8 years.
Yeah, that's it.
We're spending money on players like our Tom Bayliss, who just spent nearly 2 million on him, which is in football is not a lot of money really, but for us it is.
No, exactly. That's it.
We've let him go for free. Ben Davis, we sold into Liverpool for like 400 grand. Like, what's that about? You know what I mean? Madness.
Charlie, what's the away form been like for Preston? 22 points, 19 games, 7 defeats, 7 draws, 5 wins. A lot of Preston, when you get highly spoke about this season, it's about the home form, isn't it? And the amount of times the Wallace Comet theme tune goes off at Deepdale. So
it was at the start of the season. Obviously, when we spoke last time, our home form was great, and then it sort of turned tables where our away form started being better. I think this second half of the season again, we have looked better away from home. It's at home's a bit. I think they feel like they can sit back and just let teams come at us. We're away. The chains are off, sort of. So I would like to see it again on Friday if obviously everyone's fully fit. Our mate Osmaic scored 2. They went out for Montenegro, so let's see if we can come back firing.
Well, let's hope he ain't bloody nibbling against us. Talk to me about Daniel Everson. Obviously, he's played a big part for Preston since obviously signing back permanently there in the summer from a free agent after we released him. What's been your thoughts on him? Because I think he's been a real standout player away from Osmaic this season. Obviously, he's had the injuries, and then he's come back into the team again. How crucial is Daniel Everson been? Because I'd put him down as one of the best keepers in the Championship. Yeah,
I think, again, last time he come here, he got player of the season. More than likely, I think he will get player of the season again. Like I say, some of the saves he makes, it's honestly the difference between 3 points, a point, or loss. And like I said, I never understood why you guys let go of him and let that Danny Ward play net when he was he's honestly shot stopping, brilliant, kicking. It was great at the start of the season, his kicking. These last few games he played, his kicking's not been great, but he makes up for it with the saves he makes. And he's a leader at the back. When you see him in net, you can see he's speaking to the defence, and he's not scared to come out as well, which is a big positive, especially in the Championship, because a lot of teams like to play the ball over at top, so you need a keeper that's going to be willing to come out as well. But yeah, quality keeper. He's don't look like his age one bit. He's only young, and I think we're going to have him for foreseeable, to be honest. I think he'll stay here till his career's over. Like I say, he's a great keeper.
Yeah, Danny, got any questions for Charlie so far?
Just as you say, so you've had a bit of it in different form since January, and your away record has improved a bit because it was pretty poor before. That was one of the things that I was sort of looking at leading up to today, or Friday's game, I should say, not today's game, Friday's game, that hopefully we might try and exploit, because our home form's awful. So if you can meet up with somebody that's not so great away, then. But now you've disappointed me, because you've said that you've actually improved away and not so good at home. So,
well, I will say we never, since I've watched North End, never done well after an international break. I can't remember the last time we turned up to a game and I thought we've done well there. Every single game we fell to pieces.
Have you had many away or for the international break, or not really?
No, it's mainly been back at home after the international break. But like I say, it's not. I don't think many North End fans will feel as confident knowing that we're playing you after the international break, because it's probably like a lot of teams. You play against the bigger teams and you look like you want it more and you play well, and you play against a team which is below you, and you just seem like they don't want to turn up. It's a walk in the park, this, you know what I mean? And that's the kind of sense I've got all season. It's like we turn up against the teams above us, and then when we're playing someone below us, we're like, nah, it is what it is.
Well, we can't really say teams below us at the minute, because we're sort of below nearly every team in the league. So, we seem to struggle against the teams who are in and around us in the bottom half of the table, rather than the teams who are at the top. We picked up against Middlesbrough, Ipswich. We picked up a point against Cov at home, but then we'd lost there narrowly away.
It was narrow. We should have really,
as you said about these teams at the top, but then when it comes to teams where it matters at the bottom, we just seem to be consistent, and that's something where I look at with Preston. where you lot have got nothing to play for, so the pressure is not going to be on you. It's going to be on Leicester, but it's how Leicester deal with that pressure. And at this minute in time, we've not really dealt with it as well as I'd hoped in getting the wins. We seem to be just getting draws, but draws are not good enough in the position that we are. So your last win, though, Charlie, away from home, was Sunday, the 4th of January, Bristol City away.
Yeah, I was and we played. That's the best football I've seen us play all season. I still stand that today. That was the best game this season I watched. And we didn't even have a fully fit squad either. We had the dregs of our squad, and we played class.
Who would you say has been your most standout players? See, I've been watching a lot of Alfie Devine this season, obviously on loan from Spurs. He's been solid in the midfield with Ben Whiteman. Moran's been good as well. But obviously, you look at Osmajic as well, who's your clinical goal scorer. You know, I think every real goal comes through him up front. He's your more danger when it comes to the threat. And obviously, he's got a goal against Leicester this season already, hasn't he? Where did he score the winner? I think it was the winner that he scored, didn't he?
Yeah, Thierry Small whipped it in and he's put it in the bottom corner.
Great ball in, and we were shit defensively in that sort of sense. So, talk to me about Devine and Osmajic and how you think some of the other players have done.
I think the main ones, like you say, Alfie Devine, Osmajic, and I think Lewis Dobbin as well. Lewis Dobbin's been very influential. Now we've been playing as well, but yeah, Devine. More of a, I don't know. Our manager come out of a week said we can't play wingers. Dobbin is an out-and-out winger on the team sheet. Alfie Devine can play as a winger, so I don't know why we don't play as wingers. He seems to want to stick with his 5 at the back. It's baffled my head every week. It's not 5 at the back, it's 4 at the back. No, it is. If he's got full backs, it's 5 at the back. I don't care what anyone says.
Yeah.
If he's got wing backs, it's 5 at the back. But yeah, Osmajic, one of them players. He wants the ball over the top, but he wants it around as they call the corridors.
Yeah.
Down the sides. He's that type of player, and Lewis Dobbin and Devine have been giving them balls to him. Now, I might even mention Ben Whiteman. I'm not a big fan of Ben Whiteman, Jack.
Really?
No. He's as you call it, a stat merchant. How some people, if any no offend fans are watching, he's probably going to think, he's a knobhead for saying that. But he's one of them players. All he wants to do, he's a captain. All he wants to do is point and tell people what to do. And when he gets the ball, he'll do this simple pass, just to get his. He could turn and play a ball clean through. He'll pass back to the centre half and let them deal with it. You don't want to seem to try and progress the ball at the pitch. But saying that, of a week against Stoke, I think we got forced to play a different formation because we've seen that Thompson kick that ball at them Norwich fans and he got banned. So usually we like to play 2 CDMs and we got forced to play Moran and Devine. So we played 2 10s. It put Ben Whiteman in a bit of a situation then where he has to start playing the ball forward. And it worked. We beat him. So, but I'm thinking, with Ali McCann being back, he might play 2 CDMs again. The majority of the time this season, when we play 2 CDMs, it's not worked. So it comes to Friday and you see a team sheet with Ben Whiteman and Ali McCann in, your defence is going to have an easy game.
Yeah. Because you don't pass the ball forward, which is always decent. Because, I mean, look, again, depending on who we've got available for us. If you've got someone, if we've got Patson Daka playing up front, he'll shut that avenue off. So that worries me a little bit because that will then force him to play forward, which you might be quite happy with. But Patson is very good at that. He doesn't score goals, but he's closing down and shutting off an easy ball back to the defence. He buzzes off. He's rapid, so he causes panic everywhere because you never know where he's just going to spring out from. But so that will probably lead him to then end up passing it forward. But hopefully, if we get ourselves sorted and we press right, and again, if we've got the 3 centre midfielders fit and available for us, that played in the Watford game, then that's. It may cause you a bit of trouble because they like being on the ball. They do. Harry Winks not so much, but Jordan James and skip, do press, and get around quite well. So they won't leave them with a lot of time on the ball.
No, I don't think we'll have a lot of possession. We
Yeah.
don't really tend to like possession-based football. And if we do, like I say, at home games, we'll do it. Like every team, probably have a lot of possession at home. And we don't do well when we got the ball. We seem to like to do the counter, which I think that's why it's worked well for us at these away games. Because obviously, when you're at home, your team wants to keep hold of the ball, keep the fans happy. But that's not really our play, which might help us. But like I said, it's after the international break. I'm still not confident. I'd take a draw right now. But there's an outside chance that we could still do the playoffs. Mathematically, it's possible. Do I think it'll happen? Probably not, no. But there's still that chance.
Let's discuss Leicester Preston. Dan, 7 massive games, isn't it now for Leicester? You know, it's a now or never for the Foxes. Preston, I mean, people write them off in this game, don't they? Saying they've got nothing to play for, so they're not really going to really hope they turn up. But then Leicester have still got to go and do their job, even if Preston don't turn up. So,
yeah,
I mean, the last time Preston beat Leicester at King Power, well, it was Walker Stadium back then, 2009, September. 2-1 win to Preston. Richard Chaplow scored and Neil Mellor. Bruno Berner scored for Leicester. Some of the names, Dan, you actually look at the last time we played Preston when the beaters, we had the likes of Alexander Tunche, Richie Wellens, Danny Ngesson, Matt Fryer, Paul Gallagher, Steve Howard, Matt Oakley in there as well, Robbie Nielsen, Chris Wheeling goal.
Yeah. Like I say, I'm pretty sure I was at that game. But yeah, like I say, it was a decent side.
What do you sort of expect from a Leicester approach going into these? How big this game is for Leicester, Dan? Because we can't afford to drop more points, although.
No. Look, at the end of the day, as you said, Jack, it really is now or never. And I've perhaps foolishly been backing them and saying everything will be fine. We will pick up the points that we need. And you lot have laughed at me, so I'm hoping that they don't let me down. And they need to go for it at the end of the day. They've got, again, no offense, Charlie, but we've got 4 games coming up that are winnable, in my opinion.
Oh, yeah.
That should get us on that roll to getting ourselves to safety, and like I say, it starts Friday, but it's on the players. They're the only ones who can, as we say, can get us out of the trouble that they've got us into. They've got us into it. Nobody else really. Yes, off-field things haven't helped the situation, and again, the lack of quality that we have compared to what we used to, again, doesn't help. But as I've always said, the whole season, it is with these players because there is the quality. There's no real reason this squad of players are where they are. It's just the poor attitude that they've had. Yes, Cifuentes' style of play probably didn't really work for the players that we've got. And again, it's all all numerous excuses as far as I'm concerned with it. And that it is the tail end of the season now, and they need to pull it out, and they do need to go for it.
At the end of the day, Dan is the most optimistic Leicester fan I've ever seen. Fair play. That's what your fans need, to be positive. Dan obviously, everyone wanted to see what Dan was smoking on the last show we did. But I guess that's because some people are on a certain side of the fence, Dan, and you're more, let's see how these 2 games fare, and then we'll make that judgment from there.
Absolutely.
That's everyone's sort of, these next 2 games, Preston at home, Sheffield Wednesday away, are massive games for Leicester. Yeah. It's games that we have to win both. Because if you
that's what I'm saying. I don't necessarily agree with that. 4 points is enough. We can't lose any. That's the thing. We can't.
Yeah.
That's the position we've got ourselves in, is that we can't lose any. But with having both Portsmouth and Blackburn still to play, and again, as I say, as long as we pick the right points up, as long as we don't lose to both of those sides, we should end up finishing above them, because I don't, with their run-ins, especially Blackburn's, I don't see where they're going to pick points up from.
I can't wait for them to be relegated. I cannot wait.
Again, it's one of those things, as we say as well, with Blackburn more so than Portsmouth, because they've only been up a couple of seasons. You keep circling that drain, eventually it's going to pull you in. Yeah. You can only escape it so many times. Similarly with Oxford as well. Again, I know, like Portsmouth, they've only been up in the Championship for the last 2-3 seasons, but every season they've been there, they've been circling the drain. It's just whenever we get close to the drain, Jack, we just go straight down it. That's the problem.
That's what it is. Yeah, it's a bit like Ratatouille, isn't it? You make your way along the pipes, do you know what I mean? Then you end up in your next destination. And again, the shop where we've, when someone's prepping food in the kitchen.
That's it.
Charlie, what's your thoughts on Leicester? A lot of Championship fans are surprised this season with how bad Leicester have been.
You've got to beat Sheff Wednesday. If you don't beat Sheff Wednesday, then I do think you might be in a bit of trouble there, because I think every team's going there this season thinking we're going to pick 3 points up. We went there, did a bit of twitchy ass, but we did eventually beat them. But it weren't great. But it's one of them teams this season. They've got nothing to play for. They know they're going down.
Yeah.
But at the same time, they've got some good players playing for them. And you know what I mean? That you're going to go there thinking in their points, and again they might surprise you. But it's been a surprise for, especially with some of the players. Obviously, coming from a team like ours where we don't pay a lot of money. I think our highest paid players on like 15-20 grand. And you've got like Skip, Winks, in midfielder on mega money. We're thinking, should we getting turned over here? But then the way you've been playing, them players are a bit laughable, aren't they? Same with Daka, same with what's his name up front? Yeah, can't stand him.
No.
Players like, you know what I mean? I get the frustration of Leicester fans, because players like that, especially in the Championship, you look at every Championship team, them players are on big wages. You should be doing better for that money they're getting paid. And like you say, he's on the players, even though the manager, he's sort of, it's him as well. But when you're on that much money, you want to be seeing things happening. And if it's not happening, it's down to them. Same to our players. We hold our players accountable. They're not getting paid as much, but the guys that are getting paid the top end of it, not turning up, they're getting grief at the end of the game. And I think they understand, because they're getting paid big money. But luckily for us, a lot of our players are on loan. So we can't really give them much, can we? So
that's it.
I think it is a shock to see Leicester where they are. I didn't expect it to start the season. When me and Jack first spoke after we beat you, we were saying like, it was just one of them games where we play well, we'll both be up there at the end of the season. And obviously with things going on, the point deduction, which everyone knew was going to come eventually, leaving it so late on, though, it might have helped if they did it at the start of the season. It might have helped you kick on a bit more, but coming towards the end, I think it's just killed you sort of in a way. Because if you hadn't got him, I think you'd still be all right now. You obviously won't be near the drop.
No, this is it. And this is something that I've said pretty much all season. Again, when we played you at your place, our form wasn't terrible. We weren't playing particularly well, but we were on a decent run. Yeah. And then when you guys beat us, then that's kind of where the wheels sort of fell off a little bit then. And then we had another little mini run. But with a points deduction, it's not great, but that's not why we're where we are. Even with six more points, we still only would be about 17th or 18th or 17th. And there's no reason for this side to be where they are. Even like I say, if it was 16th or 17th, at the beginning of the season, with the side that we had, and and the couple of players that we've bought in, all right, Ramsey's been a little bit of a letdown because he's been injured for the majority of it, but we're bringing JJ in also. I was saying, even if we did get 6-9 point deduction with how this league was playing out and the quality that I feel is in it, which ain't great this season. I think it's been a particularly poor championship. You know, we should be comfortably in and around the playoffs, if not pushing a bit more. But like I say, the whole side has, or the whole club in general, has just been a big letdown.
It's been a shambles, hasn't it? Top to bottom. And this is what's been the biggest effect in Leicester's dominoes of how we've felt from. Yeah. It's a fall from grace, isn't it, Charlie? People would probably have expected Leicester at a playoff push this season, to be fair.
I think it's very much like the Southampton situation. Like, again, start of the season, they were in and around the bottom with you boys and Sheffield United. And I think something has happened at the club. Someone said something, or they've been a cookie cup the arse, and it's kicked into play where you boys, the stuff has probably been said. Yeah. And it feels like no one's changing. Yeah. You know what I mean? They're all staying how they are, and they're not really bothered.
Yeah, that's it.
That's how it's been, though, for Leicester, though, isn't it, Dan? It's just lack of bothering, lack of needing to change things until they feel it's too late to do so. And they've not really changed it, have they? I know they've brought in a sporting director. They've moved one bloke from financial director to chief executive. So they've been doing the bloody tables and chairs on the Titanic, basically, haven't they, is what I like to call it. And, this is down to the players to show up these next 7 games, that intensity, that fight that we've been missing at home, because at home we've not been at our best. We seem to get rolled over quite easily when we either concede the first goal, or even when we are going 1-0 ahead, we seem to just crumble somehow. And that's the mentality switch. But if you look at the Championship, they're up for the fight. These teams, they'd have looked at the likes of Leicester, Ipswich, Southampton at the start of the season, think these are good teams. But it's about your players having that fight. What an Oxford's got, because Oxford are going to fight you to the death, aren't they? Of it, and so are Charlton, and so are other teams down there, because they want to pick up points and say, you know what. Yeah, we'll scalp Leicester, we'll scalp the Ipswiches, the Southamptons, and you look at when we'd last visited you, Charlie. Stolosic went bloody walkabouts when Devine scored. I don't know why he's even outside of his area at that point. And then Osmai scores a perfect goal from Thierry Small. I thought Thierry Small were fantastic that day. I thought he tore us apart.
He did, he caused us a lot of problems.
Everson kept
great this second half. Yeah. Thierry Small's not been great this second half of the season. No. I don't think we'll see him Friday. It will probably be on a bench, but I don't think we'll see him starting. Definitely not that. He's I don't know what's with him. He seems like the shadow of the player we've seen at the game against you boys. He's don't want to run anymore. Don't want to take a player on. I think in a way, I think he's scared, because if he does take a player on and gets tackled, he'll have to get back in. I don't think he's a big fan of getting back in and defending. Which is a shame, because that's his position.
Yeah,
seems a bit like bloody Mabadidi this season, doesn't it, Dan? Where he's not doing enough going forward. Wow. He's not getting his man.
That's it. Absolutely. Yeah, doesn't particularly want to track back. He's been better at doing it the last few games, but he's one trick pony going forwards. Step over, step over, step over. Think about it. Another step over. Pretend to cross, cut inside, waste, and then give the ball away. It's generally what he does.
I think he's because they were a season back in Championship. What did he get? He got like 20 odd goals.
Yeah, it was devastating. Yeah,
he's probably thinking it's the same again this season. It's different championships since then.
Yeah, well, yes. Also, I think last season in the Premier League, his confidence was killed by Steve Cooper. Steve Cooper is awful. We had a player on our hands, and he absolutely wasted him. And you've just had a season where you've been, like I say, you've been phenomenal for us, and you turn up for the next season thinking, this is my opportunity, this is a big chance. Yeah, okay. Unfortunately, new manager comes in, but they bring in Bobby Reid, and he plays over him from the start, and that's it. You're like, well, what's happened here? And then you don't see him again. Really, he'd play anybody else but him. We'd have Ayew out on the left hand side.
Yeah, and don't really offer you pace, does it, Dan?
Yeah, I think he just killed him as a player. He made a bit of hype at the beginning of the season by saying, after Abdul scored a phenomenal goal against Fiorentina, saying, bring your popcorn for this one. And our popcorn well and truly stayed.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's players doing more talk on social media, Charlie, and that's the definition of football these days, isn't it? They talk too much on social media, but when it comes to the thing that matters the most in crossing that white line to the pitch and playing in front of the fans, they can't seem to live up to that sort of hype they bigged themselves up to do this season. And that's a lot of players. It's not just Steffi who's done that. There's a lot of players who have done that.
Yeah, he's not on his own in that.
It's just a mad situation. Talking about clean sheets, though, Leicester ain't kept many this year. I don't think Preston have either, Charlie. No. What is it? Preston haven't kept a clean sheet in 8 consecutive matches. So right. you seem to be taken over as a bit on the clean sheet sort of front. We seem to have got a clean sheet against Bristol City, and now Preston have continued it on for us. And then, but what would you say that's down to, though, Charlie? Because I always talk about defensively. Then the best part of your attack's your defence, isn't it? You always need to be scoring more than the opponent and doing both sides of the job defensively and attacking. But what do you really think's let Preston down?
Well, the start of the season, I think the first half, stats-wise, we had the best defence in the Championship. And obviously, I think it was just before January, Everson got injured. He's only been back for the last 2 games. So that has been one of the problems, not having Everson in net. But at the same time, the defence has fallen to pieces. We cannot. I think the majority of the last few goals we've conceded from set pieces. We seem to not be able to defend. We always leave a man at the back post. We've very much, when we're playing three at the back, the main man in the centre half, you don't want to mark anyone. We seem to like to. It's same from Ryan Law days. He wants a 2. Right centre half, left centre half to mark, and the main man in the middle just be free all the time. So every time the ball goes in the box, that centre half's free, but he's not marking anyone.
Yeah,
and that's a lot of the goals seem to be coming from playing round the back, and one of the centre halves having to mark 2 people. So that is one of the main causes. Set pieces we cannot defend from. I'm not having Daniel Everson. Obviously, the keeper we had in Di Cornell did well. We had Jack Walton in there against Middlesbrough. What a shambles that was. He couldn't even palm a ball out the play. So that is a lot what it's to do. But same again, it's playing 2, like I mentioned, playing 2 holding midfielders. It's not worked once this season. And you pull too many players back, you don't break, and it's just been the same story all season, really.
Yeah.
So I think that's one of my main problems, set pieces. So it'll be intriguing to see how we get on Friday in terms of set pieces. I'd keep an eye on that one for you too. If you get a set piece, I'll be thinking we've got a chance here because we've not been great.
Yeah, because we've actually been all right at that this season, not too bad. Whereas, it weren't that long ago where you pretty much guarantee if you got a corner or free kick, you'd scored. So we've got a lot better at that, and we've certainly got a lot better offensively as well. Some of Lukey Thomas's balls that he whips in at the minute have caused a lot of trouble. And if you're saying you're leaving yourself exposed at the back stick each time, it's something that we have tended to do over these last few weeks. And again with the clean sheets thing, we've not had many, but now we've had 2 in the last 4, isn't it, Jack? So we have tightened up a lot more at the back, which has been good.
That's the key thing, isn't it?
Yeah, but it has taken away from our goal scoring thing, because that's the one thing that, again, never really worried me, because we had to anyway, but we did always score quite a few goals, but we were leaking like a sieve. But now he's tightened up that end. Hopefully, with this week or week and a half off,
they've learned a lot more.
Adjusted it, and the back 4 just being that little bit more confident. Let's say again with having Lascelles in there at the last game against Watford, we just looked a bit more solid. We looked a little bit more organised as well, with that bit of experience in there. Because as much as Nelson and Nicoli are okay, but that's exactly it. They're okay. They're prone to making an error, whichever one it is. Who knows on the day? But one of them will. There's no doubt about it. But with him in, he just makes us a little bit more assured.
Dan, I want to talk some big news with you about a certain player. Jordan James, Gary Rowett. Obviously, we spoke about Jordan James, haven't we, with this injury that he suspectedly against was it the Bosnia game? Gary Rowett has now confirmed that he'll be assessed ahead of the clash on Friday. The injury picked up isn't as bad as first feared. And he'll be in contention for selection for both the Easter games against Preston and Sheffield Wednesday. So that's a massive key for Leicester, isn't it? Jordan James. He's been Leicester's influential player this season. Some would say he's carried this team. Where would we be without him, Dan? But it's huge news to go into this Easter period to know that Jordan James will be in contention for both games, because I think he's a real crucial player and much needed in these type of games now for the running.
Yeah, 100%. Like I say, if it comes round to Friday and he's in the starting lineup, it doesn't just give the players themselves as a group a lift. It most definitely gives the fans a lift, and and something to get behind, because as you say, Jack, he has been absolute 100% star boy for us this season, even though he's on loan. He only speaks well of the club, and he is, again, which is a rarity in a player on loan. He's given more than 100%, and if it, as you say, Jack, if it wasn't for him, we'd been in a world of trouble. You could argue and say, well, somebody else may have stepped up, but I don't think they would have done the same as what he done. And it just went to show when he was out for, what was it, 4 games? We never picked a point up. So, and then we picked 1 point up against Stoke. But then since he's been back, it's not been great, but it's still been a lot better. He's just a big positive for us, and we certainly need him fit and firing, because he's a big goal source for us as well. That's the other thing. He's scored 10 goals, hasn't he? 11 goals.
10 goals
so far this season from midfield, and when you consider he wasn't with us until the final day of the transfer window, and he's had 4 or 5 games out as well. So effectively he's probably missed 10 games of the season in total, maybe a little bit more, and he's still managed to produce the numbers that he has. So he's certainly
that shows how poor we are up front, though. That Jordan James is your top scorer. Your top scorer should be your striker. That's your bread and butter.
Yeah,
and this is what I say. He scored more than both Ayew and Daka combined, and that's the most heartful thing that you sort of think of when you're at a club. Dan, that Jamie Vardy was the main talisman for Leicester, and then Vardy leaves, and you're thinking, who comes in to replace him? But it's always difficult to replace Jamie Vardy. And I always said that when Vardy left, you'd never see another Jamie Vardy at Leicester City again. He's just one of a kind striker.
You just wouldn't see another Jamie Vardy at all.
No, I don't think I'll see another in my lifetime. He was that good for Leicester, and for what he did was incredible. And Jordan Ayew and bloody Daka couldn't lace his boots. I'll say as far as saying that. I know they might have played with him, but they're not as good as him. And you'll never get another Jamie Vardy in this Leicester team again, who's clinical, who knows what it takes to get the side of your game where you know where the goal is. That's what we're really lacking. Charlie, key players are massive, aren't they? Jordan James has been key for Leicester. Who else do you really look at in the Leicester team and you think, you know what, they'll really cause us a threat on Friday?
Well, if you spoke to me like last time, I'd have said Monga, but I think you've said he's been injured, hasn't he?
Hello, JC.
He's not been playing at home, Monga, has he?
He's not been injured. He's not actually played particularly great. I mean, bearing in mind he's a 16-year-old boy, and I think Rowett prefers to have the experience.
Yeah. We've seen him at our place, and he were a good little. Jack mentioned before the game, so
he scored the goal.
Yeah, scored the goal. Looked unreal, but
Good
obviously
goal.
you've got Fatah as well. He's good. He can score out of nothing, can he? So that's another player I'm going to keep my eye on. I would say the midfield, but like I said, I've been disappointed with your midfield with Skip and Winks and that. I've not been a big fan of him. So I don't know. Only one that looked. I would have said Mavidi, but I say him again. He's not had a great season.
Yeah.
So the only two I were really thinking was Fatu and Monga. The only ones I thought, bloody hell, we might have a bit of a problem here. But like I said, James has scored a few goals. If he's coming back, we'll see what happens. But I don't really worry too much in terms of a few players looking at your team sheet. It's one of them. The way you've been playing this season, it feels like it's Preston against not a Leicester City team that's been in the Premier League. It feels like a Leicester City team. It's been in Championship for 10 years, like us. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's it. Absolutely. Well, there is one player who, again, if JJ's not fit, it is Divine Mikasa. We've got on loan from Man City. He's very good. He's very good. He scored 3 goals, is it already, Jack? 2 assists, 3 assists?
Yeah.
So he has been a bit of a bright spark since coming in, since January. But obviously, again, as I say, if JJ's fit here, I would expect him to go with the same midfield as he did against Watford of Winks, Skip, and JJ, because it did work very well. The only bit that we didn't get from it was a goal.
The goals.
We controlled the game. Probably the best I've seen us control a game in pretty much most of the season. Through them, they actually combined very well. We don't like JJ in a 10, but to be fair to them, that we didn't really do it that way. We done as you were forced into. We played Skip as a holding and let Winks and JJ just go and do their thing, really. And Winks on the ball, you give him time, he will hurt you because he can pass, and he can dictate play. And that's the very good thing about him. His attitude, on the other hand, when he's not doing certain things, is a different matter. But so when he's on the pitch and his head's on, there's not a better centre midfielder in the Championship, and he shouldn't really be playing in it. But his attitude has stunk this season because he wanted out at the end of the day, and he didn't get out, and he's kind of been given almost a 4th chance here. Since he's come back into the side, he has played quite well. I wouldn't say very well, but he's played quite well, and he has made a big difference to us.
James Justin is a good player. I've Leicester fans. No one ever criticised James Justin how good he was for Leicester. The only thing he was very much critical of Justin was that he too many injuries done James Justin. That ACL injury that season when Ricardo got his ACL was the massive issue with Justin. He could never keep himself fit. James Justin was a good fullback when fit, but then he sort of struggled this season in the Championship to start off with, and then obviously since he's gone to Leeds, they've kept him fit all the time, and look how good he's been for Leeds. We seen that James Justin at the start when he signed for Leicester, the quality that he has got. So we've never sat here and categorically said that James Justin isn't a good player, because James Justin played part in Leicester's FA Cup winning season and that, so he's been an influencer in that sort of respect. Charlie, I'll let you pick your 11 for the Preston team to play Leicester, and then me and Dan will go for ours.
I think, well, I'd like to think we'd play the same team we played against Stoke, but I think, like you just mentioned then, you've seen your team win in a certain formation with certain players, but then your team's going to go back to what it was before, unfortunately, because that's how the manager plays. So I think it's going to be a back 5 again with Andrew Hughes. He was centre half, not too sure. Gibson had a dodgy game. Probably going to Andrew Hughes, Liam Lindsay, Jordan Story. I think it's going to be Paul Valentin, right wing back. Left wing back, we got Vukovic, who's been on international break with Osmaich's mate. Ben Whiteman sitting in front. Andy Moran, I'd like to say, had a good game against Stoke. If we see him play, another thing with us this season, we've never played the same team the week after we've won. We've always changed it up for some reason. I don't know why. Your team's winning, you want to keep the same team. Alfie Devine, Osmaich, hopefully he's going to be playing. I'm not too sure after that then. I think that's my 11, isn't it? Or Lewis Dobbin, I think, just playing off the striker. Yeah. Hopefully we don't see Smith. But it's going to happen eventually.
Yeah.
Well, we're bloody Leicester, Dan. We might be seeing Jordan Ayew start because Daka's only just coming back from the Argentina game. So,
yeah, but so is Ayew. He's only all right. He's only coming back from Europe, so it's not so bad. But
yeah,
he's just coming back from playing against Ghana. I seriously hope not. But you know,
agreed, Michael. What's the team then, Dan? Because we've got Aaron Ramsey coming back. Vestergaard will be back as well, which two key players for Leicester to come back into the team. What do we reckon? Goalkeeper will go to Larsic. I don't think he'll go anywhere else. What do you reckon? Who do you reckon will be the back four?
Well, again, this is what I mean. It's a bit of a toughie this time because we've pretty much got all of our centre backs back now.
Yeah,
that have been injured. Even Suter, although he only played either was it today or yesterday? He had a practice match, so it was seeing how he come through that. But and again, as I say, it's a difficult one to know exactly what Rowett would do. Me personally, I would still play the same back four that started against Watford because it worked well. As I say, Lascelles coming in. Again, it was another game under his belt, and now, a bit of a rest before going again. So he should be fine. Luke Thomas has been, again, massive turnaround in a player. Like if there was one person who everybody was hating upon and wouldn't want anywhere near the team within even to get on the bus to come make his way to a ground.
It was Luke Thomas.
People were kicking off. Was Luke Thomas, but since Rowett's come in, he's absolutely transformed him and made him play as a proper left back, traditional left back, and it's helped him out no end. And he's been very, very good, to be fair to him. So I would personally keep it pretty much the same. As a back four with
midfield.
With Ricardo, Okoli, Lascelles and Thomas. Midfield, the three in midfield, again, as I say, depending on JJ's fitness. I don't see any reason to change it. I know if JJ's not fit, it'll be a call between whether he plays Mikasa in there or whether he plays Bobby Reid because he likes playing Bobby Reid in there. And then Abdul will play on the right. There'll be a question mark, again, as I say, depending on JJ's fitness, because what we might see, if JJ is fit, then we might see Bobby Reid play out on the left. Don't think, yes, it's where he was mainly played for when he was at Fulham, but he's a little bit older and slower is the best way we can put it now. So he can't get up and down, whereas he sits in the 10 role and he dictates where players are more so than anything. He's very much a conductor, and he's actually all right in there. Up front, it depends on who's back. Me personally, again, I'd play Pat.
You prefer Daka, yeah.
I prefer Daka. I think he just gives us more. If we play at Ayew, he spends more time at left back than he does at centre forward. We've got nobody in the box. He doesn't create anything. He doesn't score. He doesn't beat players. All he does is the ball goes into him and he falls over, so we lose possession because the referee doesn't buy his way of trying to buy cheap free kicks.
It
So
it slows the game then.
Yeah, slows the game up, puts pressure on us.
For a lot going forward when I use on the pitch, I'll be honest.
Yeah, that's it. And again, it's just a waste of space. The other option, if neither of them are ready, because like I say, they've both been away on international. I know Divine has also, but Macassa's also an option to play as a false nine. And I think again, it's a role that he'd cause a lot of issues with, because his first touch is phenomenal for an 18-year-old. Like, it's literally, no matter who pings it in at him, his touch and it sticks. And we kind of need a little bit of that at the minute to help us get up the pitch quicker. Yeah, he's somebody who can get up there and hold it. That's why Patson's quite good, because we have a couple of options. Yeah, he's not great at holding it up, but he puts pressure on the back line. Or because of him being so rapid, you can just drop balls over the top and he'll get there. You know, when he gets the ball, that's the issue with him. You just never know what he's going to do, and he couldn't finish his dinner. That's the other.
That's exactly what it is. None of the strikers could finish the dinner.
No.
They both spend a lot of time on the floor. The pair of them. You know, score predictions then. I know Nigel spoke about it. Obviously, we do the predictions tomorrow night with Rich and Steve, but we'll give you the exclusive of Leicester's prediction for this one. I'll tell you what, Charlie, we'll let you go first because you're the guest. So, what are you going for?
It was 2-1 last time to us. I'm going to say 2-1 again to us this time at your place.
Have you seen us win at Leicester? Have you seen you lot win at Leicester?
Not since that last game.
So it's been a long time then. You were a small Charlie Wynyard at that point when you'd seen us win that game.
I remember Andrew Lonergan scoring from his own net though.
Dan, do you remember that bloody crap goalkeeper we had in goal?
Yeah.
Kevin Pressman.
Patty Pressman.
Kevin fucking Pressman. Where's that on? Dear me. The summer in his eyes, apparently. I don't really know how.
Yeah.
Never let the ball bounce. See you, Kev. So you're going 2-1, Charlie.
Yeah, 2-1.
Dan, what you got?
I'm going 2-0. I think we'll keep another clean sheet.
Goal scorers?
Abdul to carry on after scoring in the international break.
Yeah.
And not sure on the other one because it depends on who's playing for us. But I will say whichever one plays in that 10 role, whether it be JJ, Bobby or Macassa, it'll be one of those. Fair
enough. I tell you what, we don't keep many clean sheets, so I'll go Preston to score. Do I sit on the fence at 1-1? I think this could be a draw type of game, to be fair. I
mean, we have the draw specialists, so...
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if it is a draw. So, I tell you what, I will sit on a 1-1. I'll let my bloody head overrule my heart at this point. Even though I don't think a draw's good enough. I tell you what, 1-1 for me. I think it'd be a draw, but if we beat Sheffield Wednesday on Monday and like we say, we get 4 points out of the 2 games, I don't think it'd be as bad, to be fair, as long as Oxford bloody don't pick anything up or Portsmouth or anyone. But anyway, Charlie, thanks for coming on, mate. Really appreciate it.
Welcome.
I'll let everybody know where they can find you before I let you go, mate.
Over on TikTok, just Charlie Wynyard. I've got Instagram. You want to follow me on there? Facebook, I've got a little Facebook thing, but I don't really post on it. It's mainly just TikTok. And now I'll see you on Friday, Jack. I'll come and try and find you if I can. I'll drop you a message.
Go and check out Charlie's TikTok after the game when Jordan Ayew scores the winner.
Dan'll be eating his words, won't
he? Be on his feet, I'm telling you. You'll see him in the background clapping it off. Go on, Dan.
That's it. I'll buy him a bag of Maltesers.
Oh, Jack, where does Dan sit? So I can look at him. Where is he?
That's it.
Cheers, Charlie.
See you, boys.
See you later.
Dan, thanks for coming on, mate. Appreciate it.
No worries.
Guys, go check out the championship predictions tomorrow. We'll have it 6 o'clock for the championship predictions. So, yeah, join us for that. I'll be joined by Stephen Rich. Week 40 of the championship fixtures. So, yeah, the Easter fixtures now are back. Football's back again. See you when you beat us, mate. Well, we'll see what happens. Thanks again, Dan. Take care.
Andrew, mate.
Take care, everybody else, and we'll catch you tomorrow.
Friday.
The championship predictions. See you soon.
Yeah.